How's it going, guys? D_Black Tape bringing you guys another Samurai 8 video. And this is about the latest chapter, chapter 22. If you have not checked that out, go check it out now and come back to this video. This was a amazing chapter, 10 out of 10, perfect all around. Let's get into it. So, as soon as we start, we leave off with Ann, and we're with Ann Hachimaru and squaring off against the other princess and her samurai, right? And this panel, it's just so amazing. It's so detailed. We get the clash between Hachimaru and the other samurai, and he notices the blade. And this goes back to my last video where I said that this samurai potentially knows something about the white samurai sword that Hachimaru has. And he says, while they're clashing, is this guy the one who is a key to these boxes? So I assume that this guy belongs to a clan that maybe is or a samurai group that belongs to that look after Pandora's box or Mandala's box, whatever box it is, and maybe they're like the protectors or something, or like they know the true history about the boxes and the keys, because they both have very similar markings to each other. So as we keep going into the chapter, we get this clash. We get Hachimaru, we get Ann and the other princess. They're both praying, and we see these badass, this really cool design, really, of Ann. She's like fierce fire, and the other princess, she's more like relaxed, like the waves, really. And so this is a really nice depiction of the two, and it shows that it requires some deep focus. And I guess this goes into the princess's own personalities, because so far we've seen that Ann, she's pretty fierce. She stands up for herself. She's very passionate, and even from knowing Hachimaru from like 2 chapters or 3 chapters, she was willing to put her life on the line for him. And we're gonna go into that a little bit later in the chapter, because this chapter is all about Ann. And God, Kishimoto is the best female character you have written ever. Better than Sakura, better than Hinata, better than any female character that you can think of. Ann is that right now. Ann is best girl. We pushing the agenda. But let's go. So the rest of the chapter basically centers around Ann's backstory. Well, no, before that. So Daruma's like, hey, a shining blade, that's it. The trip was worth it. Well done, Hachimaru and Ann. So this going to this festival was a part of Daruma's plan. He's like, hell yeah, everything's going smooth. Hachimaru's awakening. He's got his white samurai soul. We getting it pushing. So they clash, right? They clash samurai souls, and Hachimaru is able to cut through this other samurai soul. And this other samurai is he's just pushed back. He's like surprised. He's like, how are they able to garner this much power? Like, how is he able to do this? So he looks at Ann, and he's like, what? This is like, how are they? What is their strong bond? How are they able to be this strong together? How is her prayer able to be so strong when they're so young? And so before we get into Ann's backstory, it's important to note that princesses and their key samurai do not have to have a direct relationship. They can be siblings, as the samurai notes. This is very important, because at the beginning, a lot of people felt like, wow, so basically a princess and a samurai are just supposed to have a special relationship. They're supposed to end up together and whatnot. No, that is not the case. It is endearly possible that that they can be siblings, they can be best friends. It is entirely possible for any of those combinations of things to happen. And I'm glad Kishimoto's finally getting into this. So guys, patience. Patience. We're finally starting to get into the full swing of this great manga. Like, I can't even stress it. It's just amazing. Okay, I'm reeling off this chapter right now, and oh my goodness, Let me compose myself a little bit. All right. So we get into Anne's backstory, right? She says, "That's right. Everyone has memories that they want to forget," and this is her callback to Katsuga. And when Katsuga was saying to Hachimaru, "Hey, people have things they want to forget," and this whole chapter was done so beautifully. The art, the panel to panel, the just everything from start to finish of this chapter was just perfect. The layout, the story details, and everything like that. So let's get into Anne's backstory, right? And so it starts off, Anne is getting bullied by these two I guess these like not Ronin, but they look like they belong to the samurai school. So she's getting bullied, and this guy steps in, and he's a Nanashi, or a nameless. So Nanashi wasn't just a one-off character back when we met them in a dojo, Hachimaru's first friend. No, Nanashi is given to orphans who don't have a family or a name to them. So I'm glad that we're getting that explanation. So that explains that Nanashi could potentially come from like a wealthy family. He could have been abandoned. So Nanashi, I hope he gets a purpose when he comes back. But we're not talking about him right now. We're talking about Anne's brother Nanashi, and he had his purpose in life. He wants to protect Anne, right? So he steps in, he fights these two bullies, he tells Anne to run away. And what's important is they both have a stuttering problem, right? So let's keep going into this chapter. Oh my god, I'm so hyped right now. But anyways, so we get Anne and her brother. They spend time together. They're in this dojo, and we're getting these little, while they're speaking into their relationship, talking and whatnot. We get these little scripts of panels of Anne thinking in real time, and this is why I love this backstory so much. So she's basically reliving this as she's praying, and she's saying to herself, "I tried so hard to separate all the strands that were knotted together." She wanted to forget everything about her brother because this was a very impactful moment to her. This scarred her essentially for life, right? So her brother's like, "I'm here to protect you forever. I'm big and strong for you. I want to be here for you." This is one of his purposes, and we're going to get into this later in the chapter because it's very important. So Anne goes on to note that her brother's promise was to a lady that was never her mother. So Anne is orphaned too. Anne is a Nanashi. That is important. We're gonna come back with that. Oh my god, I can't wait into Anne's backstory later on. I mean, not well, we get more into Anne. Maybe she has a strong family history because it shows that she is a princess. So is it possible to be a princess? It doesn't matter your stature, your standing, or anything like that. So I wonder if we're going to get into that later. But Anne is a Nanashi. She is an orphan. She grew up without a family, essentially. And she only had her brother and her mother, who we assume has passed. And it says in the chapter that this promise that her brother made to her mother, that she loved, she loved, he made this promise to her to protect her. So we get more world building as to the town that she's in. They're in a castle town, so I guess there's different regions and towns. But anyways, so in this castle town, all orphan children are simply called nameless, or Nanashi. And he says that he wants to change this about himself. He doesn't want this name nameless, right? And so he says that he has 7 desires. And so one of his desires is to be a Bunshi warrior. The second is to become rich. The next is to become a samurai. He wants Anne to become a princess. He wants to become the strongest siblings in the galaxy. He wants to become shogun, and he wants to protect Anne even if it kills him. So I want to draw this back to chapter 1 when Hachimaru became a samurai. And we're gonna draw a direct correlation between the two as to why Ann's brother wasn't able to become a samurai and why Hachimaru was able to become a samurai. So let's get into it. So Ann's happy, and her brother counts on his hand, oh, that's 8. And, it's a little gag moment between the two. But Ann's really happy, right? And so her brother, it turns out, gave her the name Ann. And so she's always had a speech impediment. And that she's always had a hard time saying her own name. So one day they go visit the dojo and they meet a young Hagamichi and Princess Un. And I'm assuming this is when they first, started making a name for themselves, because even Princess Un points out, we've made a name for ourselves, Sir Hagamichi. So I assume that they have maybe a little relationship thing going on by, their interactions in the future, but that's not important right now. It's all about Princess Anne. Let's get into this. So her brother approaches both of them. He's like, hey, I want to become a samurai. And Princess Un, this is what Princess Un says, right? Listen, to become a samurai, you must first become a bunshi. Alright? So I believe this, and I have to do this samurai school video. I've been putting this off. I have school, I've just been pushing the samurai school video coming out. But samurai school is such a key point into becoming a samurai, right? So I'm gonna talk more about that later. But first, Princess, in another video. But Princess states that you must become a bunshi, right? And she says that it is the head princess who decides which of the bushi are suited for the locker ball. And she says, of course, if the head princess chooses you, it's a 99% probability you'll pass and become a samurai. But this comes down to good luck. So don't rush into it. Yes, ma'am. So apparently, essentially, even if you are selected out of the bunshi, it is not 100% chance that you will become a samurai. Although 99% is pretty high, but that's besides the point. So remember these 7 desires. He wants to protect Anne, right? He wants to protect her. He wants to do all these great things. Well, he fails to do this. As we go into the chapter, the bullies return, and now there's 4 of them. There's 3 with katanas, and I'm assuming this is a princess, a chick or whatever. And they're beating up on Anne's brother, and Anne jumps in the way similarly to how she jumped in the way of Hachimaru. Anne gets hit, and she's on the ground, crying and whatnot, and they're both on the ground. And not Hagamichi, Anne's brother, Nameless, apologizes, and he says, I failed to keep you safe after I promised. That's what I would do. Remember, this is one of his promises. He promised to protect Anne. He did not do this. He is angry, he is upset, and so he goes into the temple, into the dojo with Anne carrying her, and he uses the locker ball to commit seppuku, to become a samurai. However, it fails. And I think this is because he, at the time of becoming a samurai, did not have something to protect. Instead, he wanted to enact revenge on the people that injured Anne because he was upset that he was unable to protect her. Now, we can mirror this to when Hachimaru wanted to protect his dad when he became a samurai. At that point in time, he thought upon his death, that his dad's life would be spared and protected. There's a difference. This is why it is important to have something to protect. This is why Kishimoto has been stressing to us in the manga from chapter 1. It is important to have something to protect, to become stronger as a samurai, even to become a samurai. So since he failed he failed to protect Anne, his one purpose, one of his 7 goals to live, he was unable to become a samurai. Alright? He died, he commits seppuku in front of Anne's eyes, and then we get this dope panel. This amazing, beautiful spread where it's Anne remembering her brother and Anne remembering me everything that happened with Hachimaru. And I'm going to talk about what she says here. And so she says, but after everything, right, she wanted these memories to be separated. But upon meeting Hachimaru, it draws her back to her brother. So let's go into this panel, because it is very important that we understand this panel and the prayer that Anne is using to strengthen Hachimaru, right? So as she's on the right side, it shows her brother saying, "I'm here to protect you forever." You know, he's making a prayer, and he says, "Doesn't it look cool?" Because he has a top knot, and this is the same top knot that Hachimaru had put his hair into when Anne and him first met after, you know, he changed clothes and whatnot. So this draws us back to that panel as to why she was blushing, because her brother didn't become a samurai at the time he had made his top knot, but Hachimaru was a samurai when he had his top knot. So these direct correlations between the two, just beautiful. But let's get into the side with Hachimaru. Alright, so Anne all her life wanted to disconnect from this tragic event that happened to her brother. She wanted to push this all the way to the past. You know, don't remember it, none of that. And in this panel, now that she has met Hachimaru and everything is starting to get connected, she says, but now my memories are connected again. And so this goes to Hachimaru's side. And Hachimaru and Anne are crying because, you know, Dr. Furuta passed. And then she remembers the promise that Hachimaru made to her. And he, you know, he says, "I promise that I'll do everything I can to take care of you." And then he's praying the same as, you know, her brother was praying. And he says that, "And the galaxy, my final promise to you, I swear to protect each and all of these things." And then it goes to the panel where Hachimaru has his top knot. And then we get more of the flashback where it's saying, you know, Anne jumps in front of her brother who's getting beat, and then Anne who jumps in front of Hachimaru when Ata's attacking him. And she says, "The truth is, though, I knew deep down I didn't want to forget about my brother at all. Once I met Hachimaru," she says, "that I realized I wanted to stay connected to him," right? So her whole basis of praying, you know, for Hachimaru, everything where it says that there exists a connection between you two, a specific connection between the princess and her samurai, the key princess and her samurai, right? There is a connection. This is Anne's connection to Hachimaru. This is why she prays. This is why she wants. So essentially, this prayer is her attempting to maintain the connection that she now has with Hachimaru because he resembles her brother so much. And that was just beautifully done, masterful. And then to top it all off, the icing on the cake, Hachimaru cuts through. We get back in time, the present time. Hachimaru cuts right through this guy's blade, and that's the end of the chapter. Oh my god, Kishimoto Okubo has really hit their stride right now. Samurai 8 has been doing phenomenal, and we're only 4 chapters deep into this new arc. I can't even fathom where we're going next. There is 125 more opponents. This arc is starting to push up. The best samurai of the best of the Ronin samurai that should be on this planet should increase the difficulty of battles to a tremendous level. Hachimaru is gonna get stronger and stronger, and his connection is gonna get stronger. I can't wait to see where this goes. Let me know down below what you think of this amazing chapter. Do you think it was a 10 out of 10? Let me know what you think of ANNS' backstory. Let me know down below. And if this is the first time, you have watched my video, or you have, been here before, subscribe down below. Let me know that you guys like my content, because Samurai is amazing. I enjoy talking about this. Make sure you guys comment and like. I love having these interactions with everybody, and peace.